All right, so number 6 here, express the rational expression in lowest terms. Okay, so here we have a numerator and a denominator that have yet to be factored. So we're going to use what we learned last chapter, last test, factoring, to help us get to a place where we can easily cross out some factors. So first things first, let's take a look at our numerator and see what we can do to factor our numerator. So question number 1, is there a GCF in the entire numerator? Nope, I don't see one. So question number 2, how many terms are there? Remember, the number of terms in your polynomial will help you to determine which method of factoring you're going to be using. So in this case, we have 1, 2, 3, 4 terms. 4 terms tells us we're going to be factoring by grouping. So let's go ahead and do that. We were given 3x minus 3y minus bx plus by. All right, so we've already determined there's no GCF and that we're going to be factoring by grouping because there are 4 terms. So with grouping, let's go ahead and isolate this middle sign. And what that does is breaks our polynomial down into a left side and a right side. So now looking at the left-hand side, just these 2 terms, what is in common now? What is the GCF here on the left? Well, here on the left we have 3 we can pull out. And when we take that out, we're left with x minus y. All right, and we isolated this minus sign, our middle sign, so let's go ahead and bring that down. And now let's take a look here on the right. What's in common here on the right? Well, looks like a b is in common, so let's pull out a b. And when we do that, we're left with x minus y again, right? X minus y. And we can check ourselves. 3 times x gives us 3x. 3 times negative y gives us negative 3y. All right, so that checks out. Negative b times x gives us negative bx, so that checks out. Negative b times negative y gives us positive by, right? Because a negative times a negative gives us a positive. All right, so there we have it. And we know that when we're factoring by grouping, we need what's inside each of these parentheses to match exactly. If your sets of parentheses don't match, you've done something wrong. So you got to go back and check yourself. So here we have, now we'll have x minus y, and then we can go ahead and cross those factors out. And then what's left after we get rid of our x minus y? Well, we just have our 3 minus b, 3 minus b. All right, and so that's how our numerator factors out. So let's go ahead and down here we'll write the factored form. So we have x minus y and 3 minus b. All right, and now we're just going to factor now the denominator and see what happens. So again, is there a GCF in this whole denominator? Nope, I don't see one. So question number 2, how many terms are there? Well, 1, 2, 3, 4 again. So we know we're going to be factoring by grouping. So let's see, we have 3x minus 3y plus bx minus by. All right, so let's see. Let's go ahead. We're factoring by grouping, so let's isolate that middle sign. That breaks our polynomial into a left and into a right. And we can see now on the left, we have the GCF of 3 again. So let's factor out that 3. And what are we left with if we take out a 3? Well, x minus y, right? X minus y. Let's go ahead and bring down this isolated sign, plus, and now take a look here at the right. What are we left with? Well, we can pull out a b. That's what our GCF is here on the right. And when we pull that out, we're going to be left with x minus y again, right? And let's double check ourselves. 3 times x gives us 3x. 3 times negative y gives us negative 3y. Positive b times x does indeed give us positive bx. And positive b times negative y does indeed give us negative by, right? A positive times a negative is still negative. And so now finally we'll go ahead and write the final factored form. So we get rid of our x minus y, and when we get rid of the x minus y, we're left with 3 plus b, 3 plus b. So let's go ahead and write that over here in our newly written expression. So x minus y, 3 plus b. All right, so now this is where we're focusing our attention. Now we've rewritten the expression in its factored form. So let's go ahead and see what cancels. We have an x minus y and an x minus y, so that goes away. We have a 3 minus b, but no 3 minus b here, so this 3 minus b is going to stay. And this 3 plus b is going to stay because there's no 3 plus b in the numerator to cancel with. So writing this number 6, this rational expression in lowest terms, we are left with 3 minus b over 3 plus b. And there you have it. So again, when you are writing these expressions in lowest terms, you want to factor the numerator as much as you can, factor the denominator as much as you can, and then cancel out or cross out or divide out, whatever you prefer to say. You want to get rid of those factors that are identical. And whatever you're left with is your newly written expression in lowest terms.